Hello everyone, and welcome. We've just got another new update, and that means that it's time for a new unit review. This update brings us back to FE4, and we have 4 units to go over. Our first banner unit for this update is Ares. Ares is a sword cavalier with 157 BST. Like Eldigan and a whole host of melee cavalry, Ares has great attack and physical bulk in exchange for low res. Ares' special is Draconic Aura. His A skill is Brazen Attack Defense. Although Brazens don't work in the first round of combat, the ability to gain 7 to 2 stats on both phases is no joke. Brazen Attack Defense in particular is one of only a few A skills that can compete with Distant Counter and Steady Breath on power level. Ares' B skill is new, but it's also underwhelming. Seal Defense and Res, like all Seal skills, is slow and situational at best. Still, I expect players who like to experiment might give it a shot, and for all I know, it may end up being effective somewhere. That brings us to the Dark Mistletoe. The Dark Mistletoe is one of the strongest personal weapons ever released. It combines the advantages of special acceleration and special pre-charge into one weapon. Then, if that wasn't enough, it activates in every round of combat. Dark Mistletoe grants Ares a slaying effect. It reduces the base cooldown of his special by 1. Then, if his special triggers during or before combat, it reduces the cooldown by 2 at the end of combat. In other words, if Ares' special triggers in combat and has a cooldown of 3 or less at base, then Ares will begin every combat with that special activated. This means you can combine Dark Mistletoe, 3 charge specials, and Vantage for guaranteed preemptive special activations. Additionally, because the bonus also applies pre-combat, Ares can run full player phase builds with AoE specials too. Playing with the Dark Mistletoe is kind of like loading a cannon. Ares' first combat is normal, but after that he's ready to fire, and he can do a truly staggering amount of damage. Moving on, our next unit is Lene. I don't know if her name is supposed to be pronounced Lene, Len, or Lene, but I'm going with Lene for now. Lene is an infantry sword dancer with 149 BST. If you pick HP or Res as her boon, with a Bane in HP, Speed, or Defense, then Lene will sit in the 150 BST scoring bin. It isn't great for performance, but if you want to use her in Arena, it's something worth considering. Lene's weapon is the Safeguard. Safeguard is a generic sword with 14 might and an enemy phase defense boost. If an enemy attacks into a Safeguard, the equipped unit gets +7 to their defense. Combine that with a Defense Refine, and you have 11 defense in one slot. Safeguard is a strong generic sword, and I expect that it will show up in plenty of builds in the coming weeks and months. That said, it does have a very high standard to meet. Slaying Edge and Wo Dao are both very good, and for most units the special cooldown or damage will be worth more than the defense. Lene's B skill is Firestorm Dance. This skill boosts the attack and speed of units affected by dance. Like the other stat-boosting dance skills, Firestorm Dance is mostly held back by being in the B slot. Wings of Mercy is just excellent on dancers, and giving it up for a stat boost is really not worth it. Finally, Lene's C skill is Sword Valor. Valor skills don't affect combat, but they are a huge time saver. There's not much else to say about Lene. She's a dancer. She dances, and that's really strong. I think there's a pretty good chance that Lene gets demoted here, so I wouldn't focus on pulling for her now. Our last banner unit for this update is Ishtar. Ishtar is an infantry blue mage with 151 BST. Her stat line is reminiscent of Lind or Tailtew, but that's to be expected given her archetype. With excellent speed and great attack, Ishtar is pushed as a player phase killer. Her resistance and defense are both low, but she still has decent bulk thanks to very high base HP. Ishtar's personal weapon is Mjolnir. Mjolnir is a 14 might tome with a slaying effect and darting blow built in. This is the first time we've ever seen special cooldown reduction on a tome, and I think it gives her a cool niche. In particular, the combination of cooldown reduction, extra speed, and very high base speed makes Ishtar one of the first ready-made candidates for Flashing Blade. With a little bit of help, she can spam Luna, Draconic Aura, or any other 3-charge special from behind the safety of Desperation. Ishtar's special is Moonbow, her A skill is Swift Sparrow, and her B skill is Vantage. None of these are new or particularly uncommon, but they aren't bad either. Ishtar's C skill is new, however. Odd ATK Wave grants the equipped unit and all allies within 2 spaces 6 attack on odd numbered turns. Whether you think this skill is great or terrible depends entirely on how comfortable you are with that restriction. To me, Odd ATK Wave is phenomenal, and in the long run, I feel like the wave skills will become a leader in premium C-slot choices. The ability to pack selfish buffs in the C-slot is valuable, and when those buffs can also bring team utility, that's even better. Yes, there is a restriction, but that restriction is predictable, and it's easy enough to play around. The final unit for this update is Julius. Julius is an infantry red mage with 151 BST. He can be obtained from his Grand Hero battle. Julius has a very potent stat line. His magical bulk is nothing but obscene, and his attack is excellent. He is slow, and he does lack physical bulk, but thanks to his personal weapon, that isn't a huge issue. Julius's personal tome is the Loptus. I was expecting it to be called Loptir, but I guess I'll have to get used to this name instead. Loptus has 14 might and gives Julius 3 res. Additionally, it gives him a weakness to dragon-slaying weapons. However, if Julius is attacked by a unit that does not deal effective damage versus dragons, that is to say, everything that isn't a Falchion or a Naga tome, that unit suffers -6 attack in combat. This is the first time we've seen an in-combat debuff. That's a big change, and it means the debuff from Loptus will stack with all other attack debuffs. Julius's B skill is Guard, and his C skill, as befits his heritage, is Attack Ploy. These are both great skills, and you don't need to replace them unless you want to. Like Fallen Takumi, Julius is unique, powerful, and uniquely powerful. I think a lot of players will have fun building and using him because of that. Overall, this banner is flashy. Ares and Ishtar are special spamming powerhouses, and Lene is our first new permanent dancer since Ninian. Ares and Lene have strong skill inheritance potential thanks to Brazen Attack Defense and Safeguard respectively. That said, I'd caution against pulling on this banner. These units are potent, but they won't shine at low investment, and getting Ares or Ishtar to +10 will be cost prohibitive. If you love these characters or you just want their skills, then by all means pull. But for most players, they'll probably just end up on the bench. If you do decide to summon, I'd prioritize Ares first, Ishtar second, and Lene third. I feel like Lene is the most likely to demote. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like or subscribing. You can find me on Twitter @DireThunderYT, so feel free to send me cool stuff or just drop by to say hello. As always, I hope to see you next time. Take care.